Welcome to Locker Talk.
Yeah, so I'm Emil Ekiyor from Cathedral High School in Indianapolis, Indiana. Currently attending University of Alabama, where I play offensive line. Majoring in public relations. Looking forward to graduating in May. So, my time at Alabama has been pretty good. Won national championship, 2 SEC championships, and working on another one here. So it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. Yeah, thanks. So I guess we can just kind of get right into it now. And I guess what we'll start it off with just kind of how you got in contact with Alabama, like during recruiting in high school, how that all started, really.
So the first time I really heard from Alabama was like my sophomore year, and it was like after the sophomore season, and it was like during the spring, and one of the coaches hit me up, like told me to come down there or whatever. So I ended up going down for the spring game, and I went there, we took the visit. I didn't meet one coach. Like the whole time I went there, like nobody said anything to me. Like I just felt like, damn, I didn't talk to anybody. I just came all the way down to Alabama, 7 hours. Like didn't talk to a single coach. Just literally left. Like the recruiting host is like the girl, whatever they have, showing me around. It's like, yeah, you should probably leave. Like you're not gonna have a chance to talk to Coach Saban. So I'm like, after that, I hated Alabama. Like every time I saw Alabama on TV, I hated them. Like it was like the worst school in the world to me. So after that, I committed to Michigan like my junior year. So I'm rolling strong, committed to Michigan or whatever. And then the coach that like invited me down to Alabama, he left. His name was actually Coach Cristobal. He was a coach at Oregon. Now he's at Miami. But they got a new offensive line coach. This is like after I'm committed to Michigan, obviously, and going through recruiting process, still trying to evaluate my options because I don't want to just be, closed into one school if there's another school better for me. So Alabama coach hits me up again. They're like, can we get you down here? And like I tell my dad, like, Finn, my dad spurs you too.
Yeah.
And he's like, hell no, we're not going. We're not going. You know what they did last time? And then so we're like, nah, we're not going. So the coach just keeps like, insisting that we come. But my dad was like, no, they gotta come here first to like show that like it's real. Cause last time, it was awful.
Yeah, sure.
So like, yeah. So during the spring of my junior year, they came up to the school, like sat down with Coach Strife and everything. And so it was pretty cool. And then I got a chance to go down to Alabama that summer. Ended up taking my official visit. And long story short, man, it changed all my opinions about Alabama. So ended up rolling with the Tide.
Was that like a turning point for you, like the official visit down there when they actually, showed you some more love? Was that ending point?
Definitely, like it was a total like 360 from my first visit down there. Like everybody was showing me love. Got to literally ride in the car with Coach Saban, like on the way to like the game. It was crazy. I was like, man, like, and then also in the back of my head, like this is like the best school in the country too. Like they like actually like me. So I was like, wow. And then Michigan wasn't having too great a season at the time. So I was just like, yeah, I just kind of want to be a part of the best. Like I've always thought that way, like going to Cathedral, I wanted to be a part of the best. Like, so I just kept that same mindset with college.
How much would you say going to Cathedral prepared you going to Alabama, especially, playing against guys like me and Finn in practice, like half stars that end up going to play D3 football? Like, what was that like? That help at all?
I mean, honestly, it actually did. Like,
no way.
Hey, I gotta give these guys their credit.
I love that. We're clipping that. We're clipping that. 100%. We're clipping that.
Man, Finn had a motor like anybody I've ever gone against, man. So hey, and then Spurs, always gave me the great look,
See, there we go. I tried telling people, man, I wasn't always a scrub. I had something to me, but hey,
got a little bit of juice.
My first exposure to Spurgeon as a football player was him coming out in the middle of spring practice our sophomore year to try to be a kicker. That was the first football experience I had with him.
Oh, Spurs, you switched to the specialist life on us.
I was, believe it or not, at that point, if they had an official roster, because we had no kickers, I was the second string kicker.
We're in the
then
snow before the season starts. Like after the season, he was like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a kicker." We're lined up on the field, like there's snow on the ground,
And
like he's shanking these balls left and right. We're like, "Are you sure about this? Are you sure?"
I know your foot was hurting.
oh, it was. I was definitely toe bashing a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then after like spring ball ended that summer, I immediately texted our coach and was like, "Yeah, put me back at D line. I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That was fun. That was fun having your dad as a coach though at D line. That was the best conditioning shape I've ever been in my life, 100%. Even in college.
I felt bad for you guys. Like, you guys are really reliving like my childhood. You know.
he gave you some good looks after practice too. I mean,
Yeah.
he was always there.
Yeah. No, but that was funny. I always wonder like what you guys thought of my dad. Like if you guys actually liked him or if you just hated him like for just driving y'all into the ground.
He had the best like balance ever. Like he knew when to be like hard and tough, but he like joked around too. He had that good balance. He was probably one of my favorite coaches ever. One of the favorite coaches I ever had. So
I definitely had some good one-liners with your dad at practice.
Oh,
I definitely was joking with him a lot, but when he was serious, no loafs, no places off.
no lows.
When he
That's
came to
awesome.
practice and rolled up, we knew it was time to get going, get the bags out.
Yeah.
It was work time, but
Those bags killed me every time. Right out the
know.
gate. That was tough.
But I gotta tell him you guys said that about him. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Yeah.
well, yeah, tell him what's up, man. I saw him not too long ago. I think at like a Carmel basketball game. I said what's up to him, but
Yeah, he'll be here. I think tomorrow he's getting there. So I'll holler at him, man.
There you go. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
speaking of coaching, your dad, man, then going to Nick Saban. Freddie, you want to ask this question? I know you've been digging for it.
Yeah, man. Like, well, now that you brought it up, they didn't tell me this. I didn't know your dad was a coach. But I mean, how is that kind of shaped into the football player and your mentality going into it? Because I'm sure even now, granted my dad coached me when I was little in sports too, but like you got to carry some of that with you when you're playing big time ball now. How is that kind of carried with you over the years?
I think it's just helping from like knowing the game and like little stuff on the field, just like football IQ type things, like seeing stuff before it happens, or like not really having too much trouble like with the playbook, like some guys might coming into college. So I think I just adjusted to all that well, just like the terminology, like knowing just knowing little stuff that people just take for granted on the football field, just having football IQ, knowing the game of football. Like I think that helped, like just from being a coach's son and being around the game so long. Like my dad has been coaching since I was 4 years old, so all I know is ball, So I think it's pretty cool to have that advantage, and I'm grateful, to Pops for it.
Yeah, I've always wondered. So, like in NFL, like the plays, they have like long names for them, like tons for like everything. Is it kind of similar at that level in Alabama? They have like long names for them, like just like that, or?
No, I wouldn't say the terminology is probably not the hardest part, just because they try to keep the name simple. Basically, like every play has like a code name for like kind of like how we did in high school. Like outside zone would be called something, or
don't slip up now.
Yeah. Like outside zone would be called paper to the right, and then to the left would be called pencil. Like little stuff like that. So like you just have to remember. I would say the hardest thing is like we have these like hurry up plays, and we probably have like 150 of them, like random, like, and you have to see the board and know formation, play, like all this stuff at one time, and it's hurry up too. So like you kind of got to think fast. So I think just memorizing like all those plays, like because like each play has a name, and then on the hurry up board it has like another code word for the play name, like. It's just like twofold, so like that can be a little tricky sometimes. But other than that, like the terminology probably is pretty easy compared to NFL.
What's it like having a former NFL head coach as your position coach, Doug Marrone? I'm sure he's helped a lot and given you a lot of insight.
Yeah, definitely. It's really cool just being able to learn a lot from him. You know, obviously he has a lot of experience coaching offensive line, coaching a whole team. So just any advice that I can get from him, I try to learn from him as much as possible, just because, man, he's been around the game for such a long time. And then even Coach O'Brien, just have him as a head coach, being our OC too, is just like, man, like it's just like this wealth of knowledge around me. Like I gotta, get something to pick their brain about stuff because they know so much. And then just even for advice, like there's somebody you can go to just because they have so much experience dealing with so many different players. Like you can just go talk to them about anything and get advice and stuff. So it's pretty cool, and I appreciate them.
Being from Indy, are you a Colts fan?
Definitely, man. I'm with the horse all day.
So what's it like then? Because those two are two AFC rivals, coaches right there. Like any trash talk there ever if their team's losing?
Oh yeah, I always give them crap, man, about the Colts. I'm like, hey, can't be sleeping on the Colts because they both, played against them so many times. Yeah. But yeah, I always joke with them about being from Indy. So yeah,
that's awesome. Now I think you mentioned like during that recruiting visit that you were in the car with Saban. So like from that point to like now, has your kind of relationship kind of grown a lot with Nick Saban, or is it kind of, is Nick Saban busy guy, or is you just kind of see him every now and then meetings?
So like Coach Saban is like the most transactional person you probably ever meet. Like,
yeah.
It's just like pretty much business, So it's not really too much conversation or bonding time that we have with a coach. Like it's not like a normal coach where you can just go talk to your coach anytime. You got to schedule a meeting to go talk to Coach Saban. Like you can't just go to his office and talk to him. So I don't know. He's pretty distant. He really coaches the defensive side of the ball. So he's like basically the defensive backs coach. So he coaches them all the time. So those guys have a really good relationship with Coach Saban because he's basically their coach. But as far as like the offense and the rest of the team,
Maybe. All right. So now that we're back, we're talking about transactional Mr. Nick Saban. I guess I don't know where we got kicked off and where you left off, but my question was going to be that I've always wanted to ask and wanted to know. And I kind of figured, like you were saying, he's super transactional. Like it's business. He's there to win championships. He's there to put you guys in the league. But does that man ever smile at any point?
It's definitely rare. It's definitely rare. Like only when he's on TV or like in front of a camera, maybe. But like, or maybe like on his birthday or something, like where the whole team will like get up or something. But like other than that, never.
I figured that, man. Just the Affleck commercials, and that's about it.
But actually, honestly, like there's a little like side to him where he'll like crack jokes. Like I know it came out, one of our players announced. I don't know if you guys heard, but the media asked him like what kind of jokes the Saban cracked during practice or whatever, and he ended up telling them like Saban has all these nuts jokes. Like he'll be like, you can catch these. Like he'll just randomly say it, like, and I was like, and then he'll look at you until you smile, like he's waiting for you to laugh, like with this little smirk. So he does have a little funny side, but for the most part, he's pretty serious.
I think it's absolutely hilarious that Nick Saban even knows what these nuts jokes are.
Oh man, he's all over it. He's all over it, man. I promise you.
He's awesome. Plugged in, man. He gets it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What does he feel about you guys using TikTok? I know there's several coaches out there like get off that crap, and then other guys are doing TikTok dances in the locker room and stuff.
Yeah, like pretty much social media and phones in general. Like he hates it. Like he's like, I don't use it. So why do you need it? Like you guys, he just thinks we're consumed by it and all this stuff. Like any old grandpa would think, So he pretty much just like wants to stay away from social media, TikTok, all that. Like he doesn't even acknowledge TikTok yet. Like wait till he finds out about that. But I know like some recruits have been asking him about it now with like NIL and stuff, and it's like way over his head. But
isn't he like a really hard man to reach only by like email too? Like he doesn't answer his cell phone or if he even has one.
Nah, he has his phone. I didn't know that until he said it one time, but he does have a phone, but he never answers his phone, never replies to any text. Like, you have to email his like assistant to set up a meeting. But yeah, it'd be pretty hard man to talk to.
Email his assistant. That must be nice.
Yeah. Or like, obviously his assistant's at the facility, so you just like walk up there and ask her like, can I set up a meeting with coach? But yeah, it's pretty transactional. As transactional as it gets, I promise you.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's awesome.
He's a busy man.
Yeah.
So you're recruited, you pick Alabama, best the best. You come in your freshman year. Now, how kind of starstruck were you when you walked in? Was that kind of like a lot to take in? I mean, it's Alabama.
I mean, there were some dudes there when you walked in.
Yeah. What D lineman gave you like a real like entrance and welcome to big time Power 5 D1 football?
So at the time we had 2 D linemen that were like receiving a whole bunch of notoriety, and like before the season started, like nobody had really knew about the other guy's name. Is Quentin Williams. He ended up being like the number 3 pick or whatever in the draft. Yeah. But before the season, nobody knew. Like he was just a regular guy at Bama. Like, okay, like this guy is kind of good, but he hasn't really played yet. So nobody really knew. So we're going like against each other in fall camp. And this dude like had to be like the slipperiest like D lineman I've ever gone against. Like freaking swim moves. Like it's like you couldn't touch him. Like it was just like Mr. Miyagi. Like as soon as you raise your hand out, he's just knocking it down. So like that was tough. Like definitely in pass rush situations, like going against him. But I feel like it's made me a lot better just like having that experience of going against like really good players. And then the other guy, his name is Raekwon Davis. He actually was supposed to be like a first round pick, kind of messed around, end up still going in the second round. But dude is like 6'7", 315, like 15% body fat, like has like a 6-pack, like I was like, man, like the longest arms, like you can't even touch him. Like you're trying to block him and it's like he's just like all extended. So like, man, like them probably the 2 hardest guys I've gone against since I've been in college, game, practice, or anything. Like, so just having that little intro my freshman year was pretty rough, but I think it helped me get adjusted to the college game a lot faster than I would at any other program, just going to get the best of the best.
Who's the hardest hitter on the team right now?
Hardest hitter on the team?
Will Anderson.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. It's not even close. I don't know how this man is so powerful, but it's like no matter how hard you like lean and like try to meet him like at a bull rush, it's like almost unstoppable. And then I know you guys play D-line, and this man plays, I don't think nobody in the media talks about this or anything because they obviously don't know, but this man plays with the tightest hands I've ever seen. Like literally like his hands are right here. So like you can't even touch his chest. Like his chest is literally covered because he plays like this, and he's like shocks and sheds, or he'll go like this and swim. So like he's almost impossible to block. And then he has a bull rush to go with it too. So like dude's a heck of a player.
Kind of sounds like a 2-year younger version of me in high school, man, in college. Hands tight.
Almost identical. Like almost identical. It's like
no, yeah. I mean, speaking of dudes on your team, I mean, how is it like? I mean, you've literally protected the last 2 Heisman winners. You've been on the field with them. What's that like? I mean, Devontae Smith, obviously, absolute dog out there, and then now even more. Your quarterback this year won the Heisman. What's that like? I mean, do they give you your credit you deserve?
Yeah. So it's that's actually something I took for granted, and my dad actually had to remind me, like, man, you actually played with back-to-back Heisman winners. Like, it's not too many offensive linemen that can say they blocked for 2 Heisman winners back-to-back. So I just think it's really cool. And then I just feel like those guys is part of the reason why I came to Alabama, to learn from other great people, like see how they go about things and like, what makes them great, and try to like kind of steal some stuff from them and apply it to myself, or like, so I think it's really cool. And like, I'm fortunate to have been around those guys. And then as far as like credit, Bryce is really good about it, man. He takes us to dinner every week, pays for it. It's on him. So we go to best steakhouse. It's like you play Alabama, you forget what day it is because we have practice days, and it's literally like the day of the week is whatever practice day it is. So if we have a Tuesday practice and it's on Sunday, you'll think it's Tuesday because you'll be at the facility from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. You almost forget that it's Sunday. But I'm trying to think what day.
Did you spend Christmas like did jolly old Saint Nick come to you, or was like Nick Saban the jolly old Saint Nick that you were Christmas with? Like which one was it?
Yeah, I've definitely spent Christmas with good old Nick. You know, my favorite. for 4 years in a row now, we got a record going. So I don't think I've spent a Christmas with my family yet since I've been here. So
I guess that's something a good and a bad thing, though.
Yeah, it's a good and bad thing. Like it means we're playing for championships, obviously. And then one time, COVID messed it up with last year. So, but the pretty crappy thing is just the COVID thing. Like dang, I would be able to go see my family if it wasn't for this virus. But back to your other question, I'm trying to think what day did we actually get here. I think Sunday was Sunday the 26th.
Yeah.
We got in on Sunday. We had to fly back to Tuscaloosa Christmas Day, check in and everything on Christmas Day. Then the whole team flew out Sunday to Dallas. And we had a chance to go to the Cowboys game on Sunday, so it was pretty cool. Watch the game in Jerry's World. So
Jerry's World, oh yeah.
Jerry's World, man. The best is probably the best stadium I've been in. I know Lucas Oil is pretty cool, but like that Jumbotron, man, it's like it goes from the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line. It's freaking huge.
It's like a whole campus too. There's like a ton of stuff around it too, like the whole.
Yeah. When you guys get a chance, man, you gotta visit out here. It's really nice. They got like this area called the Star. It's like they got bars, they got nice restaurants, like nice little stores and stuff, and then obviously the Cowboy Stadium and practice facility. So it's a pretty cool area, and then just Dallas itself it's been really nice. So I would come check it out if I was you guys.
Yeah,
definitely. If I look constipated on my screen right now, it's because I had a great question and I lost it, and like I'm so deep in thought right now that I'm just like in my head thinking I'm really beating myself up because I thought God, this is gonna be the icing on the top. Like this
bro, that's the worst feeling.
I mean, I guess my question was gonna be, now that we're close, what are the feelings going up to the game, man? We're getting there. We're getting close.
Yeah, so that's another thing with the bowl prep. It feels like when you start preparing for the game, it's so far away because we literally start like right after the SEC championship, which is like early December. And now it's like all the way to December 29th. And now we're doing the same practices, running the same plays. So it's good to like finally not practice against your teammates. That's probably the best thing, especially like here because like all my teammates are really good. So when you practice against them, you're like, dang, like I'm kind of getting beat. So it's like it's good to go against other people in the game and like, look forward to a game coming up. And then I don't think I'm really nervous. I just think I'm really focused on what I have to do to play good, like, and focusing on that more than like, okay, what's going to happen? Like, I'm just like trying to take that energy and put it into watching more film or like, going over the game plan more instead of like, having anxiety about the game. So I think I'm in a good space and I think everybody on the team, is pretty prepared. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
A wise coach once said, do your job.
Yep.
Hey,
I remember my question.
Man, they got drilled in our head.
My question was college life because of COVID. All three of us lived it. Obviously, D3 is a lot different than playing at Alabama. Like, not giving out any hints or anything, but partying during the days before practice leading up into it, guys showing hungover and stuff. Obviously, it's not like that at Bama, but like with COVID, what has that been? Because that's pretty much taken since your sophomore year, right?
Yeah,
or
man.
No, yeah. It would have been sophomore year.
Right. And then I think it sucked at times but it has benefits too. Like, excuse me. So like the time that COVID basically came around was like during our hardest conditioning, like the worst condition ever. It's called our fourth quarter program. Like everybody's just dressed. Like we literally run until people like die and throw up and all this stuff. And Coach Saban's in the middle, just like with a whistle. Like whenever he gets tired is when we're done. So like we actually missed that because of COVID. And I was like, man, like this is the first time I'm like, okay, cool. This is COVID actually did something good for me. But other than that, man, it sucks just like having to get tested every day, especially before the vaccine and everything. Like just getting tested, like swabbed at 7 a.m. in the morning, you know, so they can get the results back before practice. And I mean, it was kind of cool to an extent because we have more free time too. Like, you know, normally with like school and football, you got to go to class, walk to class, then walk to another class, and then walk to the football facility to go to practice. Like, it kind of took away all that just by going on Zoom and everything. Like, we had Zoom class instead, so we didn't have to walk to class. So you have more time to relax, and you know, you could probably do your Zoom class while you're at football, you know, in the football building. So from that standpoint, it's probably a little bit better and not having to do as much in person in school. But it had its ups and downs, and you know, it's a lot better now. Now that everything's kind of settled down, like although it's kind of like ramping back up at the same time. But this year it was tough. It was definitely tough this year, just like adjusting back to regular school from going from like being in online classes all the time and actually having to go back in person. Like it has made days way more hectic. So I kind of like wish we can go back in time and go back to the COVID days because it was a little bit more chill.
Being in-person classes, do kids realize like, hey, that's Emil, he plays on the football team? Like, do they realize, do you get recognized on campus?
Probably not me because, you know, I'm an offensive lineman, so I just, you know, kind of lay under the radar. But a guy like Bryce, definitely, Will Anderson, yeah, like people know that I'm a football player, but they don't know exactly who I am. Just like, you know, they can tell like by my size or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, I'm not really like the most popular guy.
I guess
that's a good thing and a bad thing. You know, you
right.
can go to class and focus on it and not have to worry about anything.
Exactly, yeah. Like Bryce, he has to like wear a hoodie and a mask everywhere he goes. Like he can't even go out in public.
At least you got to go out. You know, your last year, you got the fans back in the stands, unlike last year. So I bet that was nice. Yeah, at least, you know.
That's another thing. The games were so dead last year. Like, and I think that's another thing that changed college football this year. Just like literally having away games. A couple of our away games, like we had to play Florida at Florida, Texas A&M at Texas A&M. And those are two of like the loudest stadiums I've ever been in my entire life. Like literally can't, if I'm standing to the person next to me, I can't hear them talking. So just like having to adjust back to that and that atmosphere was kind of like a curveball just because we went from literally having 2,000 people in the stands to 100,000. So
the Swamp's one of the loudest places to play in, you're saying?
The swamp is definitely loud, man.
I was going to say, Spurgeon.
You know I'm a huge Gator fan.
When you said Florida,
I gotta give Texas A&M the edge, though. I gotta give Texas A&M the edge over it because, man, that place was shaking. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit louder than the Swamp. The Swamp, it's like it's not as many people. You know, I think it's like 85,000, 85K. But A&M, man, it's like 110K, and they're all like
they're a cult.
Like rowdy.
Texas A&M is a cult.
Yeah, it literally is a cult. That's what my parents are saying because like they're in the stands and they literally have all these chants like memorized and like, you know, like have certain chants and certain things like traditions. So yeah, they were saying like it seemed like it was a cult there. Like everybody's on the same page. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, they're dialed in the entire game.
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
When you were getting ready, when the playoff was announced, did you want to play Cincinnati, or was there a team like you guys want to play? Like you played Georgia already this year. Did you want to play them again, or was it just like, hey, we'll play whoever at this point?
At that point, I think we're just like ready to play whoever. You know, like we were more focused on just winning the championship. We know we're going to play a good team regardless. Obviously, everybody who makes the playoffs is really good. So we're just like, we really just took a step back and just prepared for like fundamentals. We didn't even worry about who we were playing. We just went against each other, focused on our fundamentals. Like, okay, like let's go back to basics. Like, how do you block, according to certain plays and pass protection and stuff like that. So I think that's another thing that makes us really good is, like, we don't really focus on the opponent too much. We just, like, focus on ourselves and, like, what we can do better. So that mindset, I think, has really helped us. And then I think as far as, like, playing Georgia again, I think it'll be tough. Just to beat a team twice is always tough. But I think we're capable of doing it just because, I don't know, the first time it just felt good. I don't think they can match up with us. That's just between us. But I mean, obviously it's gonna be on air sometime soon. But I don't think they could match up with us.
I'm not sure how many players on the Georgia team are going to be looking at our podcast looking for some fuel for the fire there. So
if they do, it is what it is at this point. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, whatever it is, you get past Cincy, you get Georgia with the rematch, or you get, we can call it the Emil game against Michigan.
In Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
I know, man. That's the craziest thing I've been thinking about. Like, man, what if I play against the school I was committed to in my hometown for the national championship? Like why me? Like, why would I have to be like the headline of the game? I thought that was pretty cool, though.
That's awesome. I
mean, you just got to get the Bearcats back for me. I went and watched them beat up my Hoosiers. It was a heartbreaker. So you got to get them back.
Man, be my Irish too.
That's definitely the plan, my guy.
I appreciate it.
You guys beat my team already, so that didn't. You guys came to the swamp. And Emory Jones, 2-point conversion. I don't know what that was, but
no, the Florida game was actually like really big for us. Like, I feel like that kind of changed our season just from like a perspective of like the team was so young. Like Bryce is only like a sophomore, and a lot of guys we had like no returning starters on offense. So just like having that experience from the Florida game. Wait, can you see me?
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah. So just like having that experience from the Florida game is like really good, and like being in a hostile environment, having to go against like a decent team at the time. Like, you got to think at the time, Florida.
At the time, I know.
Think about it though. At the time, Florida lost to us in the SEC championship. They don't show up in their bowl game. They're like, okay, our season's over, or whatever. So they're basically preparing for our game the next season, week 3 next year. That's the only game they were looking at. They played freaking whoever, FAU,
South Florida, and someone else,
South Florida before. So like, they literally spent their whole offseason building up the Alabama game. The whole offseason program was probably dedicated to the Alabama game. So like, literally going there, hostile environment, a young team, and like getting a W, like, I think that was really good for this team, and like kind of helped us later on in the season just like battle adversity.
I mean, that's a good intake, I guess.
Probably the best answer you can give. I think.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you this earlier. You mentioned just like focusing on your prep and not really worried about what team you're playing. Are there any kind of pregame or pre-week game rituals you have?
Ben used to pick his nose before spring practice. So
every time, man. Hey, you're digging for gold every time. Every time.
No, I don't know about that one, Finn.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
But pregame rituals probably just nothing major. Probably the main thing, just make sure I say a prayer before every game. Prayer is just, ask for protection on the field, ask for God to cover me while I'm out there, and also just praying for my grandmother to look over me. Somebody that really means a lot to me that recently passed. So just asking for her to look over me and, saying a prayer. It's probably my main thing that I make sure I do before every game. But other than that, just, the normal routine, listen to music, stretch out. Nothing crazy, though.
P. Warner, a minute ago, I was going to ask you about that game you guys had. How was it playing against each other? What was it? Was it national championship or was it the
the championship last year?
National championship, yeah.
How was that?
Man, it was definitely awesome. Like, literally seeing your high school teammate on the field in like such a big game is like, it's like the first play we literally just made eye contact, like what's up, Pete? What's up, Emil? Like, just like, dang, that's my teammate right there. So
You guys actually say what's up on the first play to each other? Like, hey.
Yeah,
ahead
a little head nod.
Oh,
And then, like throughout the game, we had our little moments where we went against each other and, just talked a little bit. But it was definitely cool seeing Pete out there. And, he's been having a great season in the NFL now, but also while he was in college, I knew he was a really good player. So just got a lot of respect for him and glad he's doing his thing. But, yeah, it was really cool playing on that stage with Pete and, got a cool picture after the game and everything. So remember it forever, probably.
This is going to come out of left field. Does John Mechie have a Canadian accent? Please tell me he does.
No, he actually doesn't. He has more of like the East Coast accent because he's pretty much from all over. Like I know he grew up in his mother's Chinese. Yeah, he grew up in Taiwan, moved all over the place, but was lived in Maryland for a while. So he's kind of got like a little East Coast accent.
Man, I was really hoping he'd have like some really cool Canadian accent. People would just be like, "What, bro?"
Yeah, that would be funny though.
I mean, we don't want to keep him forever. He's got a big game coming up. We got any last questions?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't think he pretty much answered all mine. Griffin, you have any more questions?
No, man. I mean, it was great having you. We really do appreciate your time, and obviously, best of luck to you this week, and then hopefully you guys kick ass and then go on and win it all. So.
Yeah.
Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide, man.
I'll say it. Roll Tide.
That's the one time I'm going to say to me.
That's the one time I'm going to say it. Roll Tide, baby.
Hey, that was my goal. That was my goal coming on the show to get Griff to say Roll Tide. So hey, go.
You did it.
Well, I appreciate you guys, man, and hope everything goes well with the podcast. You guys keep doing your thing, and it was good meeting with y'all.
Right on, Emil. Take it easy, brother. Have a good one.
All right, y'all.